I vividly remember my introduction to the game of golf. My best friend, Bobby Lane, said, "Des, we're going to make some money caddying." Caddying, I thought. I visualized carrying this large, heavy leather bag up and down a hill. I didn't think I could do it. Well, as luck would have it, this particular golf course used pull carts or push carts, but they weren't the nice light ones that are available today. No, these suckers weighed about 40 pounds. And that really built up my character hauling that thing up and down the hill of the golf course. If you can visualize a coal mine and somebody pushing a wagon load of coal out of that mine, that's what it often felt like pulling this golf bag. Well, I definitely it helped me with my work ethic overall. But this is a long time ago, back in the late 60s actually. And for caddying 18 holes, we were paid the princely sum of $2 and a hot dog and a soda after 9 holes. Times have certainly changed for sure. Well, the people that we were caddying for frequently was one group of fellas, and there was a guy named Bing. And the other guys would say to him, "Great shot, Bing, you're the king." So one day I was caddying for Bing, and he hits his shot off of the tee right down the middle, about 70 yards from the green. I handed him his pitching wedge and I started to walk away, and I looked at Bing and he gave it the little shake, the lucky movements. He took a nice swing, the ball arched in the air heading towards the green. I said, "Great shot, Bing, you're the king." And the golf ball came down and plugged into a sand trap. I thought, no problem. Bing will just go in there and pop and get it right out. Well, just then I heard this sound like a blade, shoo, shoo, and I looked and saw Bing's pitching wedge shoo, fly right past me and crash into the trees. So right then I learned that golf could produce great emotion. It can take you from the peaks of ecstasy to the pits of depression in the twinkling of an eye. Well, so we continued on working with these particular fellas, and we definitely could see that they were very, very friendly with each other. So it became evident to us that golf was a very social game. So people need people. On the golf course, it's like the emperor has no clothes. You can't pretend that you're somebody. You can't intend to do something. You have to do it. So it certainly teaches us that actions are more important than simply intentions. And actually, if we think about during COVID, people got very isolated. They said that isolation is like smoking half a pack of cigarettes every day. So the game of golf encourages that socialization. It encourages letting down our guards, being honest with some people, maybe getting some lifelong friendships there certainly. So that's a very much a positive thing. So we got an appreciation for earning some money, and we got exposed to a wonderful game. And we also learned a new vocabulary that sometimes was a little bit different, so to say. Now, I'd like to talk also right now to those people that actually play golf regularly. So let's say that you play at least 25 rounds a year and you can shoot under 100 or under. Well, what we know is that 50% of the people that play golf find it tension reducing, and 50% of the people find it tension increasing. We also know that after people have played the sport of golf for about 3 or 4 years, they hit a plateau and they stay there the rest of their life. Well, I'm here tonight to tell you that the greatest pleasure in golf comes when we lower our score. People think, well, yeah, that's obvious, Des. But if you think about a football team, after they play every week, they're looking at their score, but they're crunching their data. They're going under the hood, multiple layers to see what they can be working on and what can definitely help them. And I can really give people a great deal of insight in this area. So if that person shoots 100, 4 out of every 10 shots are hit with their putter. 40% of the game is putts. So they have 40 putts. And then from 15 yards off the green, that's called a pitch, a chip, a sand shot. We'll say that's conservatively 1 out of 10 shots. So for that person that shoots 100, half of his shots, 50, are hit with his sand wedge and his putter, and 50 are hit with the rest of his whole bag. Very interesting. So people spend a lot of time hitting golf balls, buying brand new clubs, and hitting golf balls away, and their score is never actually changing. So let's go under the hood a little bit more. So if you think about a person playing basketball, 25% of a basketball shot is the proper technique, and 75% of the shot is what we call feel, the proper power. Now, there's no mystery as to how feel is calibrated in basketball. It's repetitions. So if the youngster is on some kind of a team, or if a guy is playing with his old timers at the Civic Center once a week, they might have still fairly good technique, but they have to put in their time with their repetitions. So let's talk about putting. You've heard in real estate that the 3 most important elements are location, location, location. And in putting, it's speed, speed, and speed. So from a technical standpoint, the best players are putting their upper arms against their rib cage, and they're moving their rib cage back and forth. That's the essential element to putting. There's some more to it, but that's just a good overall thought, rather than it just being our hands only. So that's the technique. Now, the proper speed comes from repetition. So if you're playing twice a week, that's a lot of golf, 36 holes a week, you probably will have reasonably good feel. But if you don't, I want to give people hope. They only get to play once a week or once every couple of weeks. They could still spend 10 minutes every night putting on their carpet to work on their speed. And what I suggest doing, put a little piece of string 2 feet from the wall, walk back 20 feet, and hit 20 putts every night. So we're not thinking of our technique, we're working on our feel to get the appropriate power to get the ball within 2 feet so that we can pop it into the hole with our second shot. So we can get our feel from playing, but we can also get it by thinking of the putter as an instrument and spending time at home working on our speed so that when we go out to play, we'll be able to hit our first putt within a couple of feet of the hole and pop it in, rather than hitting it 3 or 4 feet from the hole, missing it, and there's that extra stroke right there. So if a guy's shooting 100, he's got 40 putts. A guy shooting 90, 9 times 4, he's got 36 putts, 80, 32 putts, 70, 28 putts. So if that person shooting 100, if they can work on getting their putts down from 40 to 36, they've picked up 4 shots right there. Then if I can help them get with somebody competent and make sure you've got good form on your little pitch shots, and you can also be working on your little pitch shots also at the house. Even hitting wiffle balls, you're just getting used to the movement. And then you can be also maybe outside working on those short little pitch shots as well to reduce our scoring around the greens. So in football, it's great when a person can throw the ball 70 yards. But the winners are the guys that can consistently throw it 15 to 20 yards and make first downs and move the ball down the field. So there's a great attraction for golf in wanting to hit the golf ball far. And that can be achieved definitely as the sequencing of the body improves, getting with a competent teacher. But it's been my experience that people get to about 60 and they give up golf. And they think that they're doing the best that they can. But understand, golf is, there's no teammates, there's no coaching, there's no mentoring. We can pretty much do whatever we want to do, and that's to just hit golf balls on the driving range. But we're only working on half of the score So we don't have much of a chance to lower our score. So those are very powerful type things to do. And it kind of reminds me of, as I've gotten older in life, of a good saying, and that is, life is either hard or harder. And in other words, meaningful happiness in any aspect of a person's life has to be preceded by a little bit of discomfort. Example, education. You come out of high school, you figure out, hopefully getting a little sense of your career, and there's going to be some sacrifice going to get the particular training so that you can get the job that you would like to have. Hard, and then we get happiness. And then also, how about if you're lucky enough to have learned about money from your parents, budgeting, so that you're able to have a little money left over, pay all of your obligations, take care of your family, and have a little money left over at the end of the month. To a lot of you, that might sound very easy, but to other people, it isn't. But you can understand the premise there. It's a little hard to delay the gratification, and then the happiness comes ultimately. Or if you don't, if they just spend it all, then at the end of the month, it's harder. In other sense. How about exercise, physical fitness? If you want to play golf into your 60s, 70s, and 80s, you can, but that exercise component is going to take often some sacrifice. So there's always a little bit of difficulty. So we've talked about today how golf builds up our work ethic. It can. It's social. You get to see nobody can hide who they really are. They're been saying that golf doesn't build your character, but it will show your character on the course. But it's a neat sport because the short game, the pitching and the putting, doesn't require a great deal of physical exercise. It requires getting with a competent teacher. Typically somebody that is good in instructing the game has apprenticed under top teachers. They've traveled to watch and work with top teachers. That's kind of a good attribute. Probably the same for learning a lot of things. And we touched on the work ethic. We touched on building up those components of the game. Talked about the hard and the harder. And so even if you're in your significant relationships, if you're having some friction there, that's actually a good sign. You can get some credible help. A little difficulty in the beginning, not comfortable, but then can be better than it has ever been. There's always been a wonderful time there. So it's been a pleasure today to chat with you. The golf is a defensive game, not an offensive game, we've learned. And we can improve our short game at the house with a couple of little rituals and practice things. And your score will come down. And I guarantee that you're going to be happier. You're going to have a wonderful time and get to play all your life. Thank you so much.